All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Francis, Game Marketing Director here at Become, and I'm joined by Ollie. Ollie, could you provide a little bit of feedback for today? Because we're going to do a class breakdown. So, we're going to do an overview of all the classes, seeing how their progression works. Ollie, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Oliver, game designer on Pathfinder Gallowspire Survivors, and I'm very excited to be here. I don't know what else to say. Should I repeat what I said last
Yeah,
time or
yeah,
not?
yeah. Because we might have new listeners, so it's always good
Okay.
to do a little bit of background, your tabletop origins, and everything.
Okay. I started in the gaming industry 20 years ago. I started playing tabletops another 8 years on top of that, so about 28 years ago. I am a mega geek. Been playing D&D, Pathfinder, Magic, Vampire the Masquerade, Werewolf, Paranoid. Almost everything.
All of it.
I've been a player and a game master. I love both. I do have a fondness for game mastering a little bit more, just a little bit more.
It's a game design a
And
bit, right? It's related somewhat.
it is a little bit. It is a little bit. Uh, Actually, just a little tidbit. I got into game design by playing Lego as a kid
That's
because
awesome.
that got me into level design, and then eventually I started playing video games on top, and I was like, what if my little Lego characters had character sheets and I could create stories and abilities and we could just role play it? And that was before I discovered Dungeons and Dragons.
Nice.
So I am a mega geek, as I keep saying.
All right, so that's great. Like I said, today we're gonna do a class breakdown. I feel like this is something that is really useful in our case, so we could, because we are more character driven than other Survivor games. The way we
Absolutely.
progress, and you integrated a lot of elements from the tabletop RPGs. So I think doing like this parallel between both would be really great, and I think we should start now.
Absolutely. And we do have a few half hidden features that may be too well hidden for people to notice so far.
Yeah,
So
you
I,
can
I
you can
think
tease
there's
him. I think you can tease him.
great, great, great. I'm not going to tell everything. I'm not going to talk about everything, but, little tidbits just to make sure that you guys understand a little bit better where we are going.
Sweet. I just want to remind everyone, we're going in early access September 14th, so you can wishlist the game on Steam. I added the a link in the description. It should be there. If not the tool we're using to stream hasn't done it properly, but it should be there in the description. And if you want to join the Discord, we're also there. Ali even is there to just answer questions and bounce ideas with everyone. So just add on to both places to wishlist the game and join our Discord.
Absolutely. Feel free to poke me. I will answer what I can. I make no promises. I will answer what I can.
Yeah, exactly. So as you can see, we got three classes: fighter, rogue, and wizard. They all have their male and female counterparts. So in their design, you can see we have class attributes for each one of them. Do you want to go right into the talent tree, or you want to go into stats block?
Let's talk about stats real quick because
Yeah.
it's the same for everybody, mostly. And I'm going to explain the mostly part. So, strength increases non magic weapon damage for everybody, which means it's useless for wizard. Dexterity increases projectile speed for everybody. Constitution increases health and health regen for everybody. It's a little bit of health regen, but especially at lower difficulties, it really helps. Wisdom decreases the base cooldown of all abilities. Not ultimate. We'll get on the ultimate later, but ultimates are not cooldown based,
Yep.
right? You need to kill things to charge it. It's charging based, I guess we could say. Um, Intelligence increases the base damage of all spells,
Mm-hmm.
which is also for the rogue. If you unlock certain spells, again, we'll get into that later. And charisma increases the range and the radiuses of most spells and abilities, or most
Okay.
attacks. For the strength is also the core attribute for the fighter because it does affect certain things like shield block value. For the rogue, it is dexterity, and it does affect certain things like when you unlock nimble dodge, how much dodge do you actually have? How much damage certain abilities like upgraded caltrops, upgraded smoke bomb. Again, that goes a little bit deeper, but still, it is a core attribute. And intelligence does give a few things for the wizard as well. Especially once you go into higher tier, it upgrades your force barrage, so it can deal like your intelligence score and damage in addition to its regular damage, which makes it really really good.
Nice. And playing the game, I would say they translate quite well. And like tabletop RPG to a video game, I feel like the way they tweak and with the way we upgrade them, it feels right.
It's almost like we've been used to using those statistics in video games for the
Exactly.
last 25 years. I don't understand.
No, I just want to say I think the way it scales, you're doing a great job on this one.
Thank you. We spend a great amount of time doing the balancing, testing everything out, make sure things are fun but not broken.
Yeah.
And sometimes, sometimes we mess up. Sometimes things are too strong or too weak, but that's why we have early access to be able to balance things, bring everything more or less to the same power level, more or less.
Yeah, exactly. The more people will give feedback on how it feels, how we progress. We'll get data on a lot of stuff. So by playing, by giving feedback, getting feedback from everyone, I think will help us tweak even more our game. But I feel we're at a great point at the moment.
Please, I feed on feedback.
Yeah, so just go ahead, hit us up, Discord, everywhere.
Don't hesitate. I don't bite, I promise.
All right, so Talon 3.
Okay.
Let's jump right into it. Like I said, we don't have a lot of... we don't have... Our progression goes through character progression. Like it's a talent tree. It's not items. So we're driven by it. It goes like... You can see I have like blacked out skills that I cannot unlock at the moment because I haven't progressed enough. So it follows like you're leveling, and it also some things that are, like you said, are hidden. So I'll let you do a little bit of explanation on each one of them.
Okay, I'm just gonna move what you're doing over here so I can actually talk about what you're selecting.
Yeah.
Coordination, teamwork, yay. Okay. So, let's start with the fighter. So, just so people know, and I'm well aware that the Gallowspire adventure path is, well, technically where we are is not even in first edition. It is pre-first edition. Just so everybody's aware, we explained the timeline a little bit through the loading screens text, and where we are is technically pre-first edition, technically, or ish, but. Because when we are releasing the game, because we are working with Paizo, we are using to the best of our abilities the rule set of second edition, and we are using terms of abilities and spells and whatnot of the second edition.
Okay.
And this is a really good example. Vicious Swing used to be known as Power Attack. Right, I'm sure everybody's aware of what's happening with the OGL and stuff like that. So Paizo is updating things. They announced we're receiving books at the end of the year. I'm quite excited about that, to be honest. And we updated to the best of our abilities, to the best of how we've been discussing with Paizo, all the terms and all the words to fit the future of second edition.
So that's a tease. That's a
well, some of that content has been released already to be able to check out. So some of the things that we have is already known. A good example, Magic Missile going into Force Barrage is already known.
Mm-hmm.
We've had Force Barrage in the game since before it was announced, but at the same time, nobody could play our game before it was announced. So
right.
It ended up working, right? Okay, so going into the talent. So Vicious Swing, again, it's our take on Power Attack. We could not really give Chance to Miss because that would have felt just terrible.
Yeah.
So instead, what it does, the small drawback that it does is it increases your cooldown a little bit for your attacks. So it gives you a big chunk of extra damage, and it does actually scale up. So it starts at 25% increased damage. It's quite big, and then it goes up to 50, 75, and then double damage at the end.
Yeah.
While the cooldown increase always stays at 15%.
And that's only for your base attacks, right? That's only for the base attack?
No, it's for all of them. The attacks of the fighter.
Okay.
Yeah, so your great axe ends up hitting quite well,
okay. Yeah.
and the hammer ends up hitting like a freight train.
Yeah. Okay.
but it is a little bit longer to do.
Yeah.
And that is basically the primary way for the fighter to deal more damage, other than strength, obviously.
Yeah. I want to go through shield block. Let's go like left to right.
Yeah, sounds good. Shield block is extremely important. It what seriously bumps the survivability of your fighter, especially if you want to go more in the face of enemies, if you want to go more in melee range.
Mm-hmm.
So a melee fighter is viable, but it is much harder at the beginning. It becomes a bit easier once you have shield block, and then the further you level up, the more viable, the more potent it becomes. So shield block gives you a percentage chance to shield block. So you block damage. The amount of damage you block depends on your strength and your class level.
Okay.
So basically, the formula is not actually given, but I can share it. I actually don't mind, so people can make informed decision. The formula is your fighter level plus your strength score. Okay. So if you're fighter level 2 and you have 6 strength, you're blocking 8 damage.
Oh, that's nice. Okay.
And then there is, actually, we can go back to Vicious Swing after. Yep. There is, that you can get pretty early on, a passive called Bulwark that increases the amount of damage you block.
You're right.
Which is really useful for higher difficulties, right?
Mm-hmm.
For Vicious Swing, there's also a passive, and what the passive does, it reduces the cooldown penalty. The passive is not quite as good, but it's, if you really want to maximize damage, it's a
good way to do it.
Shield Sweep is really, it's free damage. When you shield block, it's free damage. What it does is it's a small AoE around you, and it deals damage to everything around you and applies a very minor knockback. You might not notice the knockback that much, but it's just to give you a tiny bit of more breathing room.
Yeah, that's just enough space just to survive.
Exactly. But the damage, again, scales with your strength.
Okay.
And it's decent damage. It's not incredible damage, but it is decent damage. It's enough to make a difference, especially at lower level.
Mm-hmm.
And the higher it is, the more damage it deals. For shield block, the higher it is, the higher the block chance.
Get it.
Bravery, again, people might actually recognize those terms because they are terms that are used for the fighter either as feat or as class features or as attacks or,
it's not a 1-for-1 with the books, right? We don't want to force things, so we took inspiration from it to adapt it for our game.
Exactly. Bravery on the build that you have as a slight mistake. It does not increase armor by 0.4%. It increases armor by 0.4. Armor is a flat value, right?
Get it.
And it's a flat value, but one armor is 1% damage reduction.
Okay.
So 0.4 is actually 0.4% damage reduction.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And the higher bravery gets, the higher the bonus gets.
Yeah.
So eventually you can cap your armor. Armor caps at 75% damage reduction. You cannot have more than that, so you will always take damage. But fighter can very easily, especially at higher level, get to armor cap, which allows them to be able to tank and to play more like a frontliner.
Yeah, a real tank.
Yeah. The upgrade of bravery comes a little bit later, but it is quite good. In the same radius as bravery, you get health regen for each enemy inside that radius.
Oh, wow.
So it allows you to become quite tanky. But again, it's a very defensive option. It does not give you any offense.
Okay.
Battle Hardened increases the health you get from Constitution. So again, you want to be tankier because you want to be more close range, or maybe you want to just do like a shield block build or something like that. So Battle Hardened becomes very, very useful. Battle Hardened used to be toughness for those that are not used to new terms.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so it's mandatory if you want to have more health. Even just putting 1 point in it at the early game already gives you health. So it's actually
and useful. A fighter will basically be one of the class with the highest constitution and strength.
Absolutely. And we do follow we do kind of follow the health point the hit points, that we have in Pathfinder, because the fighter gets 100 base plus 10 per level up. The wizard gets 60 base plus 6 per level up, and the rogue gets 8 plus 8.
So it's like the die roll adapted.
You're getting max hit dice, basically, every time, but yes. So especially at level what we call level 0, before you get any talent points or attribute points, the fighter is almost twice as bulky as the
The
wizard.
wizard, yeah.
Also, the fighter have some baseline armor. In the build that you have right now, it does not. But in the updated build, I'm not saying the value. I'm not saying the value, but you have some baseline armor to help you, you know, get a little bit more close and personal, especially with bosses,
Nice.
because bosses tend to be really dangerous if you
Yeah,
get close.
the grave general. If you're into his range at first, you're gonna feel it.
I can tell you, if you out level the difficulty, for example, with a fighter level 5,
Yeah.
you can almost stay toe to toe in front of the grave general. Almost,
Whoa.
because the flail will kill you.
Yeah, the flail.
But yeah, so you can live the fantasy of the vanguard with the fighter if you build them for that way, or you can go more of an offensive build.
Yeah, so
Moving
like
on.
because we have a lot of them and we can
Yeah,
tweak, but like if you prefer a play style, you can optimize it. The more you go on, like you can
absolutely. You can
prioritize
go
your life.
balance
Yeah.
or one way or another. Yeah. Weapons position, you don't have it unlocked, but you see the description. It gives you a chance, starting at 20%, of when you attack with a weapon, it will reset the cooldown of another weapon. So it's especially useful if you have very long cooldown attacks.
Yeah.
For example, if you go Great Axe, Hammer, Flail, right? Because those are the longest cooldown that you have on Fighter. Well, it's very satisfying to say, I Bastard Sword. Oh, my Great Axe that just triggers again.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's really good.
And the passive upgrade that gets unlocked a little bit later down the line can reset a second attack. So that gets
Wow.
crazy, right?
Yeah.
Because you reset an attack, and then you might be able to reset another attack. So you can just have a flurry of attack.
So you're like
And
you're a martial weapon expert.
exactly. It's what it is.
Nice.
Next, improve
Improve
block.
block.
Improve block. After blocking for a duration set by improve block, you keep the damage reduction of your block. So basically, you keep your block value as damage reduction for a little bit amount of time, and that gets longer. So it gives you a bit more extra breathing room. It makes blocking like worth it even more. So you can usually go into crowds and you can go through a crowd. If you block early, you're pretty safe for the rest of the way.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, the improved version I personally like. Basically, the passive that goes with improved block gives you a burst of speed while the improved shield block is active.
That's yeah. I think I think what's great is like you have a lot of passive that are hidden,
Yes.
and people will discover the more they play. But yeah, I think we're at a spot where depending on feedback, yeah.
Yep.
If we tell a bit more, tell less, like I know it's a fun surprise having it once you get it, but like a new goal to reach is always fun.
I can at least give you numbers, right? We have 8 shared passives, which we call general passive,
Mhm.
which more or less reflect general feats that almost everybody can get, and then we have 13 class specific passives per class.
That's nice.
But the only one that you get from the beginning is the upgrade to your ultimate. The rest you have to unlock through getting either the correct passive, the correct talent, sorry, or the correct combination of talents. Because yes, that also exists.
That's great.
All right, moving on. Mirror shield. Mirror shield. When you shield block a projectile or a ray that's sent by an enemy, you deal the damage that they deal to you back, or that they would have dealt to you back to them, and the percentage of the damage reflected increases.
Nice.
So it's during the game you're gonna encounter imps and lich and other things that throw projectiles at you, and you can just destroy them with their own weapons.
Does it work with like flaming skull that go towards you too? Or
A flaming skull is not a projectile; it's an enemy.
okay, all right. They act like one though.
Well, yes, but that's why you need to kill them before they get to you.
Yeah, you're right.
Weapon legend. So we were talking about weapon expert, and weapon legend reflects that. Weapon legend gives you a chance to upgrade further a weapon when you pick it, when you do the level up, right?
Nice.
I'm not sure how it's implemented currently, but regardless, what it gives you is a higher chance of getting better rarity for weapons specifically while you play fighter.
That's nice.
Yeah. Armor mastery. So we have a few enemies, ghost, shadows, that ignore your armor. And armor mastery allows you to keep that awesome armor that you might get as a fighter. So it starts with a small percentage. Eventually, you keep all of it. So you tell to the ghost, "Nay, you will not ignore my armor.
You shall not pass.
You shall not pass." And eventually, it also gives another bonus that I leave you guys to discover. Next, we have Sever Space. So Sever Space was a bit tricky to implement without breaking the game. For those that are not aware, Sever Space is a level, I can't remember if it's 18 or 20 fighter feat that you can get in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. And basically what it does is it gives reach to your melee attacks, right? So in our case, Sever Space increases the range of your attacks. And it becomes either very good or very, very, very good, depending on which weapon you use.
Get it.
I'm not going to say that it makes flail a little bit dumb sometimes, but maybe it does, right?
Yeah, there's some stacks that works right together, right?
Exactly. And the upgrade of Sever Space, the passive upgrade of Sever Space that you can get, and you can get it pretty early. I think you only need 1 point. What it does is it reduces the movement speed of enemies that you hit, or it gives a chance. It's called Crippling Strike. So you get extra range, and finally, as a fighter, you get a slow, because otherwise fighters don't have slows. They're fighters. And then the last one, Shatter Defense, it gives you a percentage chance to reduce the armor, because yes, some enemies have armor as well, Grave General being one of them. It gives you a chance to reduce that armor to zero, for a few seconds.
Oh, even on bosses, that's good.
Even on bosses. And it does have a really nice passive upgrade that I'm not going to spoil, but it's really nice.
I think that's going to be it for most of the stream. It's going to be nice.
I mean, I gave half, but have to be.
You have to reach it.
Exactly, have to be a tease a little bit.
All right, onto the rogue.
Okay, rogue. So mobility gives just the rogue more of that speedy goodness that they already have. Yeah. Rogue are a little bit faster than fighter and wizard, and mobility just ensures that they're even faster than the wizard
I'll say I think being a speed demon, a speed killer is like a wonderful feeling in a survivor game. Usually, like it feels sluggish in the other games, or like even when you start, I feel like the wizard is slow after you tried the rogue. But you feel it. Like I love being fast and being able to just go for it. Treasures or anything that you could just outrun everybody.
And then you get fleet, on top of it.
Yeah.
And then if you want to be really absurd, on top of all that, you get a quickness potion, which increases your speed further, and you can do Sonic the Hedgehog. It's it feels quite good. It does feel quite good. Nimble dodge gives you a chance to dodge. That's what we were talking about earlier with dexterity. So nimble dodge, what it does is it gives your dexterity score as a percentage chance to not take any damage.
Nice.
If you upgrade it, it increases by a flat amount.
Okay.
So eventually, right? It takes a while, but eventually you can dodge over half the attacks.
Whoa, that's a lot.
Well, then again, it's probability, right? So it might be half, it might be more than half, it might be, but yeah, it can get up there pretty well. Sneak attack. So sneak attack is a staple of the rogue. We don't have precision damage. We don't have extra die of damage. So instead, what we did is on your opening strike, on the first hit you make against an enemy, you deal additional damage with the sneak attack.
Okay.
So it allows the rogue to one-shot enemies easier than other classes. Although the fighter with Vicious Swing is a good contender, but the bonus of sneak attack is higher than vicious swing because it's only on your first attack.
Get it.
So that's why rogue, it's good to have at least one long range, hard hitting attack so you can get that first opening shot with your hardest hitting attack. So that's why bow is good for that, crossbow is good for that, daggers if you have melee weapons otherwise. So it's quite good. And the upgrade of sneak attack, which you don't get immediately, but it gives you a chance when that sneak attack procs to reduce the armor of the enemy for a while. So it really makes your opening hand, so to speak, very, very good, but you don't get it immediately. I think you need a few ranks of sneak attack to be able to unlock it.
Nice.
Eldritch Trickster is basically your wizard dip. It unlocks one wizard spell that you can obtain during your level ups per point, starting with Frostbite, which is actually quite good. And then you get Howling Blizzard, and then you get Fireball, and finally you get Lightning Bolt. And they are all projectiles. Well, not all. The first one is a ray, then the second one is just an area of effect, and then it's a projectile, and then it's another ray. Yeah. Why I mentioned this is because of penetrating shots and the upgrade of penetrating shots, but we'll get to that after. The passive upgrade of Eldritch Trickster, is really good if you want to focus on magic. Basically, it increases the damage of those spells specifically.
Nice.
The poison weapon, favorite of our QA director. It applies a percentage of the weapon damage that you dealt over time to enemies that you hit. It's not always you have a percentage chance of doing it, but if you attack fast enough, you're going to apply it. And if you specialize in poison weapon, because there is a passive upgrade that increases its damage and increases the chance to apply it, you can turn the rogue into a kiting machine. Right? You just apply your poison and then you kite them. You don't try to go kill them.
You proc and go.
Exactly. Rogue Luck basically gives you more gold.
Yeah.
Right? It's pretty simple.
It's pretty direct. Whoa, my bad. I'll drop my controller.
Okay. The upgrade to Rogue's Luck is Treasure Hunter, if I remember correctly, and it makes chests better.
Okay. Nice.
So people have been wondering, I've been watching, I've been reading comment, watching stream, watching videos, and people have been wondering, how come isn't the rogue better with chests? And, well, you just don't have the passive for it yet.
So it's there.
It is there. It is there. You just have to earn it. Speaking of kiting, Caltrop. So when you are hit or when you dodge, so you don't have to get hit. You can just dodge, and it's going to be the same thing. It drops caltrops at your feet. You can move away. The caltrop stays there. And the caltrop will slow the movement speed of enemies going over them.
Nice.
So again, it's good to add some breathing room.
Yeah.
And yes, there is a passive upgrade to caltrops that adds damage to it.
Yeah, and I really like when I get my rogue as a companion, and it has caltrops, so it drops too. It's just even more effective.
Absolutely. Caltrop and poison weapon are very useful for the rogue companion.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we have critical strikes. I think that's pretty self-explanatory, but I'll still explain. It gives all your attacks, including your spells that you get through Eldritch Trickster, a chance to crit for extra damage.
Yeah, so it stacks up quite
a bit. It does. Yes, it does stack up. Penetrating shots is one of... I mean, they're all good, but it's one of the things that really make the rogue shine. And people have been wondering, or, talking about why do the fighter and the rogue have mostly the same weapons. It's because, yes, they have the same weapons. They don't use them the same way, though.
Yeah.
And this is a primary example of that. So what it does is it gives a percentage chance, up to 100% when you maxed out, to your projectiles and rays it's mostly projectiles because rays already pierce, technically. So of your projectile to pierce through enemies.
So Fireball could... pierce through enemies.
Yes.
Whoa, okay. That is strong.
It's pretty good.
I never maxed it, so I haven't
it's pretty good.
That's really good.
Yeah. Baseline, it makes dagger even better than it already is, and dagger is already pretty good.
Yeah. When you're okay, get it.
And it makes bow very, very good. Because
Okay.
bow on fighter is not exciting. Bow on rogue, once you have penetrating shot, is one of the best attacks.
And you get like 6-7 arrows. Okay, you can mow people down.
Yeah, 6-7 arrows is like very early bow, by the way. Like very, very, very early bow. I think it starts at 5 arrows.
Yeah, I know, but still. Okay, that's good.
And the upgrade called Enchanted Shots, which again, they're all feat or features or stuff like that from Pathfinder 2nd edition. But Enchanted Shots is... I still question my sanity by designing that, to be honest. But we are making it work, and all the rogue players we have internally love it. So can't nerf it too much, or I may not wake up tomorrow. They're rogue players. But basically what it does is when a ray or a projectile goes through enemies, that projectile or ray deals increased damage for each enemy they pierce.
Wow. Okay.
So it makes bow, it makes later down when you have lightning bolt deal a pretty big amount of damage if you fire them into a crowd.
Nice.
Granted, you don't have control where you fire things, but it's all about placement.
Yeah, that's it.
It's all about placement. All right, next we have Cheat Debt. Cheat Debt is, again, I think self-explanatory, but still, it gives the rogue a chance. Well, not a chance, actually. It's 100%. When you would die, instead you activate Smoke Bomb and you don't die.
Yeah.
And there's a cooldown to it. So if you don't die too often, you can do that about once a floor.
Okay.
So it's really, really good for grinding higher difficulties.
Get it.
Of course, if you're completely overwhelmed, it's not going to change anything because you're going to do that, and then you're still going to die. But it's quite good.
Okay.
Dread Striker is the opposite of Sneak Attack. You deal increased damage to low health enemies. So Sneak Attack is good for opening, a fight, and then Dread Striker is good for finishing it. It's mostly meant for boss battles.
Yeah.
So it makes that 20-25% of the boss health go down faster.
The last phase of every boss is
exactly
more manageable. Yeah.
Exactly. It's especially wonderful for Crankings.
Yep. Yeah.
And then Poison Smoke upgrades your ultimate. It makes it so the smoke bomb that you have that we'll talk about the ultimate after, or I can explain it now.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. No, let's do it now. Let's do it now.
Okay. So the smoke bomb of the rogue, what it does is it places a little. At the beginning, it's small, and then it gets larger. Little puff of smoke on the ground, and while you're inside of it, it gives you extra dodge chance, and it enables your sneak attack regardless of the health of enemies you're attacking.
So it always procs like a sneak attack whenever you.
Yes, exactly. While you're inside your smoke bomb.
That's nice.
So it is the most offensive of the defensive ultimates.
Yeah. Okay.
Although it could be argued that freeze time is pretty good for offense as well, but all the ultimates are mainly defensive, but being able to activate sneak attack, especially again on boss fights, is pretty
strong.
huge.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And that's it for the rogue.
Yeah, we're going to
now for the wizard. So let's just go over the ultimate of fighter real quick.
Sure.
So fighter is shield wall. What shield wall does baseline is it gives you extra armor. It gives you 25 flat armor right there when you pop it.
Yeah.
And then it increases the block amount that you block with your shield. So you can go in, you take less damage, but you get hit more, therefore you block more often, and you take less damage from the blocking, and it also increases the damage of your shield sweep.
Nice, okay.
So again, a little bit of offense into that. The trade-off, because unlike the rogue smokes bomb that is stationary, you can move with shield wall, so what it does is it nerfs your movement speed a little bit.
Okay.
It makes you a little bit heavier, right? For the wizard, the ultimate is freeze time, used to be called time stop, and it does exactly what it sounds like. It stops time.
It's really useful.
However, you can still trigger your spells during time stop or freeze time. So you can stack up mini spells. It looks especially good with Force Barrage, So you will see little pyramids of purple,
Yeah.
force barrage stacking up around, and you can move around. You can go through enemies without taking damage. Everything is stopped, including bosses, and you can just move around to place your force barrage. It starts at 4 seconds. You have the ultimate to upgrade the duration.
Yeah.
The ultimate also gives you additional cooldown while freeze time is active, so you can pop more spells. And I've
That's
been
nice.
seeing that more actually since we tweaked the ultimate passive. You can do such thing as a freeze time build with the wizard. It is a thing. Now,
Nice.
keep in mind, you still have to charge it. It's not
Yeah.
always active, but you can go all in. There's 2 passives that buff your freeze time, and yes, you can do that.
Sweet.
All right, on to the talents. So Prodigy, very simple. It reduces the amount of XP you need to level up. To level up inside a run. It does not affect class progression. It is purely during run progression, adventure progression, as we call it. And it's 8% per rank, so it goes, up to 32%. And it makes it so it's a lot easier for the wizard to cap all their upgrades by the end of the run before getting to Tarbathon.
Mm-hmm.
Shield is a little bit like the shield spell, but in our case, what it does is every 10 seconds you get a shield charge. You can have up to 4, depending on which rank you have. And it basically absorbs any hits. And because
it's so useful.
It is super useful. Like, it's night and day. At the beginning, like, you're super squishy, you have to be super careful. Then you have that. Then every 10 seconds, you can be reckless. You can take the Grave General's great axe in the face and take no damage. So it is wonderful. And because we have an iframe after that, it means you take no damage, and then for half a second, you're safe.
Nice.
Now, if you're crowded, you're going to die.
Yeah, you're going to die, yeah.
But, and this is a trick that I'm giving you for free, guys. If you have shield as a wizard, right, and you're getting swarmed, and there's like this stick of enemies all around you, but it's safe after that, you have shield. Just go through. Go through. You might take a hit, but you're going to be on the other side. It's going to be a lot safer than inside the donut.
Leroy Jenkins.
Exactly. You have to take risks. Okay. And then singular focus is, honestly, I personally really love it. It goes against the instinct of playing a wizard, which is don't stop. Keep
and a
going.
survivor game.
Exactly. But it does give you a lot of rewards for it.
Yeah.
So for every second you're not moving, it increases your damage. And yes, by the way, guys, it is working and it is amazing, especially for hard-hitting spells in the first place.
Yeah, it's strong.
And it increases every second, and then if you move, it stops. But especially early floor, you can do AFK farming mage. It is a thing. Until you just can't kill them anymore because there's too many of them. But it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. Just to speak of it, because I think it's really worth it. Shield has a passive upgrade, right? The passive that you can get with Shield that does not deal any damage, but it actually helped the strategy I was talking about of going through enemies or just not getting hit. And when you lose a shield charge, your shield explodes and it knockbacks enemies. Nice. So you take no damage because of shield, and then they go whoop, like a little bit like when you level up.
Yep.
So it is just it's a safety net.
Get it.
Right. Next, we have the masteries. So cold mastery increases the slow of your cold spells, and it increases the duration of said slow. We might be revamping that a little bit because we've been getting internal feedback that it's not quite as exciting as the two others, but we'll see what we get from that. And then the passive of Cold Mastery that you can get, your cold spells decreases the damage. So it's purely defensive, decreases the damage of enemies while they are slowed.
Okay. Nice.
Electricity Mastery, probably my favorite mastery, makes it so for each enemy you hit with an electricity attack, you decrease the cooldown by a small amount of that electricity spell. And that amount lowered increases over time with ranks, and it makes things like lightning bolt fire off like a machine gun later on. because if you hit like a line of enemy and there's 20
Yeah.
enemies in a row,
And your in your mastery, you just get you get like 5% per enemy hit. Is it like a 1.5% each level or?
Ish.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that. Something like that. It is. Oh, they put it at percentage. It's supposed to be. Okay, interesting.
Hey, maybe there's an update I'm not aware.
Yeah, maybe there's a bug because it's supposed to be in time.
Oh, okay.
We'll look into that. We
All
will
right.
look into that. That might just be an update on dev side, and we just added percent. I don't know exactly what happened there.
All right.
The passive upgrade to Electricity Mastery increases the duration of the stuns of your Electricity spells because all of them have a stun. Some very, very, very short, like Lightning Bolt is only 0.2 seconds, while Sudden Bolt has a very long one. Like
and Chain Lightning is between the two of them?
Yeah, Chain Lightning is in between. Exactly. Chain Lightning is very defensive. Fire Mastery gives your fire spells a chance to crit and a chance to deal more damage.
Okay.
And the increased damage, because it's only fire spells, we want to reward you for using fire spells, which tend to be a bit more random, is actually higher than the crit damage that the rogue receives.
Wow.
So your fire spells can hit quite hard if they hit, which I think with Falling Star can sometimes be not quite that easy. And the passive upgrade to Fire Mastery is something that is actually quite wonderful. Is Immolation, and it gives a burning effect to your fire spells. So if you want damage over time as a wizard, there you go. That's where it is.
Nice.
Quicken casting makes it so when you cast a spell, you have a percentage chance of casting another spell for free at half damage without touching its cooldown.
That's good.
Yeah. So it is similar to what the fighter has, but it does not reset the cooldown. So if you have, I don't know, let's say you have Falling Star and you have Chain Lightning, and your Falling Star, falls, the cooldown goes, the cooldown is halfway done. Your Chain Lightning pops off and triggers a Falling Star. Falling Star falls, does not touch the cooldown finishes, another Falling Star falls.
Yeah, okay, so you're rating the map.
Exactly. And the passive upgrade is it increases that damage, so you can eventually get good damage out of that instead of half damage.
No, that's nice.
Spell penetration gives you armor penetration. So basically, you ignore, because armor does reduce, because armor is generic, it does reduce the damage of spells as well.
Okay.
Only Force Barrage ignores baseline half of the armor. So this allows you to ignore, some up to all of the armor. And I'm going to actually let you guys discover the passive upgrade to that because it is interesting, a bit situational, but it is very strong when it actually is used.
Nice.
Telekinesis upgrades your pickup range for potions and XP. I actually don't remember what the passive is. Huh.
Is there a passive related to it? Yes?
There's a passive for every talent.
Okay.
I'm drawing a blank. I guess we'll discover it together. Okay. Archwizard's Might increases the damage your spells deal during freeze time. So I was talking about that freeze time build earlier. Well, that's a big enabler. And yeah, it can make some spells hit pretty darn hard during freeze time.
Yeah.
Contingency is the I will not die of the wizard. This one, instead of having a cooldown, it has charges. It starts at 1, and then you get 2, you get 2, you get 4. It also enables time stop or freeze time. I've just been reminded that the passive upgrade of telekinesis gives you increased range on your spells.
Increased range. Okay, nice.
Yeah, which can be pretty ridiculous with like lightning bolt that is already going off screen. So contingency, so it allows you to not die when you would have died. It gives you health regen. So again, it is pretty much necessary, as far as I'm concerned, to do high difficulty progression.
Yeah, and this is one of them.
Yeah. Force Mastery makes your pew pew go pew pew harder. So it adds a percentage of your intelligence on top of your Force Barrage damage.
Okay.
And then the passive upgrade adds a knockback to Force Barrage.
That's nice.
So you can say go away.
You want to go over the potions, or do we keep it a
Sure.
class and keep potions for another time, or?
It's up to you. It's up to you. We can do potions real quick if you guys want.
Oh, yeah, let's go with potion real quick.
Sounds good.
So
Potions.
healing, it's pretty much straightforward.
Yeah. Just to clarify,
Yeah.
there's 5 potions in the game. What you see are upgrades to those potions. So everything under healing potion, it's the same potion, but that potion does more.
Okay.
So yeah, the top one. Healing,
let's do it in a row again. Like it's healing.
Healing just increases the amount of heals from the potion.
Okay.
So the potion gives you 20% health at the beginning, and then it gives a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more.
Okay.
Regen gives you health over time after taking that potion.
Yeah.
And then temp HP, which is personally one of my favorite. When you are... Actually, no, I think we changed the behavior a little bit of it. Yeah, we changed the behavior. So instead what it does, it increases your max health for an amount of time after picking up a healing potion.
Nice.
So on the fighter, it really, really shows.
Yeah, it shows, yeah.
Yeah. Quickness potion. Speed gives you movement speed. It makes you go fast. Cooldown gives you cooldown reduction while the quickness potion is active. Again, quite
Super
useful.
Yeah.
And then evasion gives everybody that nice dodge chance that normally only the rogue has.
Nice.
For Oak Potion, armor gives you armor. I think, again, straightforward. Resistance gives you chance to ignore debuffs.
Okay.
So you also can be slowed, you can be burned, and you can have later on the Doom debuff as well, which prevents healing, which can be pretty nasty.
Yeah.
So while you have that active, you have a certain resistance to it, and once it smacks, you're actually immune while you have the Oak Potion active.
Nice.
And then the last one, which people seem to like, at least since it's been integrated, is Reflection. It's damage reflection. So I have Oak Potion active. I get hit, you get hit. We shared the love. It's a favorite of fighters, usually.
Nice, yeah.
Energy Breath Potion, first one, it increases the damage. It also increases the duration. All the other ones at the top also increase the duration of the effect of the potion, by the way.
Okay.
So it increases the damage, which the damage of the Energy Breath Potion is a multiplier of your current adventure level. So that's why it deals more damage the higher level you have, because enemies have more health. So, kind of makes sense. The second one gives you armor penetration for those pesky armored enemies.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one increases the size of it.
Okay.
At the beginning, it's a small cone, but it gets big, 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 big. And finally, we have the Absorption Potion. The top one increases the duration of the effect. And the effect... So in case people are confused, the Absorption Potion is our magnet, but it also gives a buff that increases pickup radius.
Oh, okay.
For the duration. So that increases the radius of that pickup and increases the duration of it.
I thought it was only a one-time thing, like a...
Nope.
Oh, that's good.
That's why you glow blue for a while.
Yeah, okay, get it.
The second one increases the chance for enemies to drop essences while it's active, like the essence extraction passive. So when you have those two together, pretty much all enemies will drop potions. Not potions, sorry. Will drop essences. And then doubling gives a chance for enemies to drop double the amount of essences that they would drop.
Okay.
And this is a bit more... How could I say? This is a bit better than people might think, because enemies cannot just drop one essence, right? At later floors, they can drop 2 or 3.
Okay. And other colors that gives even more, right?
Yes. Yeah, because, we have a linear progression. We have better essences that give more XP. But that means with doubling, well, if you would have gotten 1, you get 2. If you would have gotten 2, you get 4. If you would have gotten 3, you get 6.
Nice. Okay. So it scales up quite a bit.
Exactly. So again, it's to enable with the right decision obtaining, so-called max level.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, Ollie,
Yeah,
I don't see any question in the chat unless my chat widget is not working properly.
I don't see
Uh,
anything either. People are being quiet.
that's it.
They're mesmerized.
Honestly, you like I played the game for a lot of hours,
Yeah.
and I like there's a lot of passive that I didn't even see yet. So I'm excited that when you're talking about how our character progresses, how it changes, even like the skills you can choose, being hidden, like something you might think it's only like in your face, but I like that we're having some hidden things in our progression. Gives a little nice surprise when you get them in your runs.
Will do.
Super insightful. Like I'm pretty sure people liked it, and like it gives a lot of thought in how it was elaborated and developed. So it shows. It's really good.
I'll give you final words of wisdom. The grave general does not like walls. So I'm gonna say. So I'm gonna say.
All right. Thank you for your kind words, Oli. It was a
You're very welcome.
pleasure. Everyone, thank you for being there. You can wishlist us on Steam. There's a link in our description.
Please do.
Pathfinder Gallowspire. We're going on early access September 14th. It's right below Oli, right there. You can see early access September 14th. That's it. Join our Discord. We're there. We're active. So whenever you have a question, you have feedback, please go ahead. Ollie is there with even like you got design insights, some things that you want to need explanation, or some things you want to pitch in, improvements. Like we want the community to be active. We want to be responsive with the community. It's a like the Pathfinder tabletop RPGs. We like it evolves with the community. It needs feedback. It needs people to have it hands on and play it. So whenever you find something in our game you like it or not, like go ahead, chat with us. It's gonna be a pleasure. So thank you everyone. Cheers.
Thanks.
Have a great day. Bye bye.
Have a good one. Bye.